When I was in primary school, there was this particular topic, this composition topic that was being given to us by our teachers to write about. And the title was The Day I Will Never Forget. Honestly, I felt that everyone in my class had something to write that could fit this genre, or should I say this niche of topic, except me. What most people write about were very, very sad stories, and I did not have that kind of sad story to write about. I just felt that the sad stories I had were not sad enough for me to add them to this topic or for me to write about. You understand? So I always wrote other things like how my mom prepared my favorite meal, or how my father bought me this or that because I passed my exam, or how I got this gift for my birthday. But I just felt like it was not enough to fit that particular genre, or should I say niche. I don't know how primary school was for you, but my class, when it was the day I'll never forget, in fact, people had a lot of sad stories. I just feel that this topic is coupled with a lot of sad stories based on my own personal experiences. So finally, I got to write my primary school composition while graduating from university. Is it too late? And I thought to share because I know that you might get one or two things from it. Let's get into the story. The day I'll never forget was. No, 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 no.
We are too grown for that. I'm not going to start a composition that way.
I actually wrote this on Substack. If you want the writing version of my stories, you can always check it out on Substack. I'm now available on Substack. I post writings weekly. For now, until maybe we get friends out, or I need to take a break from writing. But for now, I post weekly. Okay, so for people who don't know me, I am a university student studying computer engineering. Since the very first day I entered university, all I wanted to do was to leave that place.
Run away. Run away.
I felt it wasn't for me, and even worse, I felt like I had chosen the wrong course to study. And for the past 3.5 years, I've been convinced that that was not what I was meant to do in this life. I find coding very boring, very uninteresting, and very tiring. I feel like I should be in a field where I get to have more human to human interaction, or even if I'm not having human to human interaction, I just felt that that field was not meant for me. So for the past 3.5 years, I have been telling myself this story, and I've believed it. It would take God to convince me this field is actually for me. So, dear God, I know you're hearing this. If this is the field meant for me, convince me that this is what is meant for me. Okay, let's get into this story. For the past 3.5 years, I've been in the university studying computer engineering. I've just been getting by doing the things that I have to do and passing the exams. I cannot say it with my full chest. I am a computer engineer. I can build websites. I can. It's not like I've not been trying. I've been trying, but each time I tried, I felt like it wasn't for me. Until this year, 2025, where I had to graduate. And graduation means writing exams, writing a report, and doing your final year defense projects. As you all know it, I wrote my exams very well, wrote my report, my research proposal very, very well. I had a very good score. In fact, the major obstacle, the biggest obstacle was coding for my defense project. And remember what I told you, I have been convinced for the past 3.5 years that coding was not meant for me. Or is it for the past 3 years? Yes, for the past 3 years that coding was not meant for me. So I used to code, but I never really took it seriously. I never really took it deep. And in fact, the field, I felt that it was so boring and it was not meant for me. My defense project included me doing a project which required coding that I have been avoiding for the past 3 years and presenting that project in front of a jury. So you get to understand what is at stake. I was working on a parental control system to be able to enhance children's safety online. So I've done the research, I learned every single thing I could to be able to build this project. I didn't want to rely on AI alone because yes, AI could help me do this, but I didn't want to rely on AI alone. I made sure that I did my research, but I was using AI to do the research. That's where I made the biggest mistake ever. After months of preparing, I got stuck in some places. Still yet I was doing every see yeah, feel the fear and do it anyways. Don't let the fear interfere. See, and nothing will change when you don't do anything. Despite how difficult this project was, I had never worked on a full project before. I had worked on projects during my internship, but I actually worked with other students and we will all contribute together and build a project together. I had never worked on this, and my project was quite complex for somebody who has never ever been interested in anything coding. I chose to build a parental control application which required training a model and incorporating to an Android application. It was very amazing. When my supervisors heard of it, they were wow, like they were like, wow, this is a good topic. I prayed to God before my I was being assigned to supervisors because I had heard so many bad stories that happened to students about their supervisors, and luckily for me, God gave me the best supervisors I could ever ask for. So the problem here was not with my supervisors at all, it was with myself. Normally we had to defend a little bit later, but our defense was brought forward. From my research I had done with ChatGPT and from the preparation I had, I knew that I will use a week to finish implementations of my project. And while implementing my project on Android, I realized that some of the key features that I had to implement on my app, they were missing. Not that they were missing, I could not do this implementation because Android had changed its policies. And because Android had changed its policies, most of the implementations that I thought I would be able to make on my app could no longer be implemented as of Android version 9.
Who did this bit for me?
I was devastated. My project was due in 1 week and I had not yet done the key implementations. I don't know what was the best reaction for me, but I started crying. I cried and I begged God.
I mean, what's your prayer point?
God, I beg.
Okay, what's your other prayer point?
God, I beg.
You don't have another prayer point?
That finish. It's only God, I beg.
In fact, I have never cried like this before in my entire life. I had never pleaded to God so much for something like this in my entire life. I thought of all the stress and money my mother had spent. I thought of the sacrifices my mother was making. I thought, in fact, I've never been in a more worse state than I've ever been during that 1 week of my life. How was I going to turn around this situation? I do not know. And luckily for me, as God does his things, our HOD pushed the project 6 days forward.
I cannot fail you. I cannot fail you.
I was so happy because on the eve of the day I was formally supposed to present, I had nothing. I was talking to my mother, and my mother was like, go and present what you have. I was like, God forbid, I'll go with this rubbish. I'll go and present in front of who? The jury will insult me. I cannot go. Luckily, as God always does his things, it was being pushed 6 days forward. So I had to look for a solution. And mind you, I had to look for a solution that will fit into the main objective I had and all the specific objectives. It was already too late for me to meet my supervisors and start changing project. In fact, there was no way that one could happen. I prayed, I begged God, and finally I saw somebody's project online about making a browser extension. With God by my side and ChatGPT as my personal assistant, I was sure and certain that I could finish this project. I was, in fact, even though I had a lot of pain in my heart, but I was so confident that I was going to finish this project. That was how I was able to do all of the back end, front end, everything within 5 days. Yes, within 5 days, I wrote my entire report from 5 p.m. in the evening till 5 a.m. in the morning that I was to defend. I can say all of these things and smile now because it's now a testimony. But trust me, I was not smiling those days. I was not smiling. I sent my report to somebody to print for me because my name was the first on the list of those who had to defend. 8 a.m. sharp. And my HOD, this woman is very strict. She was part of the panel of jury that had to supervise my work. I had to present in front of them because I know this woman is very strict. She's a no bullshit woman. I sent my work to somebody to print it. My work plus the preliminary pages were 77. I sent to this girl. I knew that no matter the type of editing that she would do, maybe to remove unwanted spaces and all of that, at least in 65 pages minus the minus the preliminary pages, at least I knew that was what was going to happen. I did my best to add in as much content as I would. Defense, when I was so happy, I was the first person to defend. I started defending. This girl, oh Jesus, this girl brought my reports, my project reports that she had printed it. I did not even bother to look at it because at that moment I was trying to adjust my slides. I even adjusted the slides and there was no light for me to even present the slides. Can you imagine? So I just paid her money and she went away. I was doing my slides. Hey, I gave my report to the member of jury. They opened the pages and I was seeing empty spaces, like blank pages. Jesus. My heart started shaking inside, but I pulled myself together and I kept explaining. She flipped the entire booklet to the last page, and can you guess the last page? 50 pages. My work, like how many pages had gone? My work had reduced to 50 pages. At that point, I was so devastated. I'm sure that everything I was saying at that point, that woman was no longer getting again. It was so bad. By the time I finished, they told me my time was up. She started questioning me. How many pages were there supposed to be? What do you mean? 10 pages gone? 10 pages gone? I was even trying to explain. She was like, shut up! Shut up! At that point, I was still maintaining calm. I knew that what had happened was very bad. Like, to not reach the minimum number of pages is something that is very, very serious. But I was just keeping calm. My younger sister was filming, and then this woman said something. She said, it will not cost me anything for me to cause you to fail and come back and repeat this year again. That was when I started trembling. That was when I understood that there were moments that made people and there were moments that broke people. See, My voice was trembling, I was shaking. I've never been in a worse state than I have been in that very moment of my life. This woman asked, what was the font size and font type you used? It was Roman times new. Do you know what I said? I said new times Roman. No, 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 no. Times new Roman. In a very shaky and awkward voice. So after that, she told me to get the hell out of there. I left, and after some few moments, I was being called to receive my results. Honestly, I was expecting a C or even a T. I told God that, God, this project I did within 1 week. I wrote the report within a day. I'm ready for anything. I'm ready for anything. And when she called me, guess what? I had a B plus. I was so happy. I was very, very, in fact, I was full of joy. She said that the only reason why I had a B plus was because my project was very, very complex and I had really done the work. Come to think of it, the fact that I was able to finish my entire project within 1 week. 1 week. In fact, it must be a miracle from God, because some people have used months and they were not able to complete their project. It is a miracle from God, and that is the day or the week of my life that I will never ever forget. So I'd like to know for you, what's the day that you will never forget? Let me know down in the comment section below. Have you ever faced a similar situation? How did you handle it? Let me know down in the comment section below, and I'm going to see you in the next video.